covering with the blood of our brothers and sisters.
Narrating the most important events of the earthly life of a saint, turning it into a story that then becomes a film. Paul of Tarsus, in prison in Rome, waiting for his conviction, receives visits from the evangelist Luke, to whom he tells his memories. The film on the life of the Apostle of the Gentiles was screened in Jerusalem and Bethlehem on 2 evenings, in the presence, among others, of Eric Gorth, film producer and president of ODB Films, an outside-the-box production company founded in 2005 with the aim of encouraging the encounter with Christ through cinematographic works.
And I think the thing about Paul that we absolutely loved was a couple of things. The first was that he was a man who was probably the first and the greatest persecutor of the Christians. As Saul, the Pharisee, as a man who was really devout in his faith, and so much so that he saw the Christian cult movement as a threat to Judaism, as a threat to what he knew to be true. And so he really became like the father of that, and almost like a first century terrorist in what he did to the early church. But God called him and said, "It's me you're persecuting." And he had that great Damascus moment. And you see Paul going from being the greatest persecutor of the church to becoming one of the greatest promulgators and proponents of the church and the greatest writer of the New Testament. Love the message of mercy that comes from Paul, which is so important.
The film was released in 2018, directed by Andrew Hyatt. It presents a suffering and passionate Paul who carries with him a message that is still relevant.
We're trying to communicate to the audience, to the viewer, which is what hopefully they walk away with, is that Paul was just like me. That he struggled, he had problems, he faced challenges, and we want people to make a real connection through this film and through the story in this first century piece where it really kind of launched and all came together and started. And we want people to see that they're not that far distant from those people, that Christians trying to follow Christ are similar even today to the people in that time, Priscilla and Aquila and the early Christian community in Rome, and that faced tremendous persecution, which is still going on in the world today. So we hope people go away encouraged that it's worth it. You know, it's worth it to follow Christ, and that Paul is an example for us.
Grace abounds more.